Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So before I jump into the video, I wanted to just go ahead and say thank you to everyone who has been supporting this channel. Your comments, whatever it is you're doing, the like button or dislike button, it's been amazing in terms of engaging conversations. This is a highly cerebral community. We think about stuff very deeply just because of the nature of DC and all of the different characters having a wide array of storylines and all. So I really enjoy it. It challenges me and it really does help me to even dig deeper in understanding exactly more of what these characters are about. So thank you so much. Today we're going to be looking at villains. Now, we've had various conversations regarding villains in the Gotham Knights series. We have a confirmation of about 4 potentially other clues to tell us who else might be in the game, and even a revealed trailer of some kind that puts one of the so-called villains in a weird situation. If you guys remember, the Penguin is having a conversation in this other Gotham Knights reveal with Nightwing. And so that might put Nightwing and Penguin in a place where he may not necessarily be a major villain and instead would be just kind of a thorn in the side where you would encounter him or his thugs. I believe strongly that Gotham Knights is in a very unique position because already there is a rogue gallery that's available from Batman. Yes, they're touting that Batman is dead, and there is the description of the game on the Steam page and the PlayStation page is so weird. They started out with Batman is dead. I'm like, man, they might really mean it. But nonetheless, Batman's villains are still alive. I mean, even judging from this gameplay trailer that we saw in the first DC Fandom event, we got to see that the villain in question was Mr. Freeze. So everybody got to see that, and so that's something that's pretty cool. So we're able to get one villain under the books in terms of knowing, okay, some of the villains that we'd have to deal with and all of the above. But there is something that is quite critical. Many times in many of these video games, villains can make or break a video game because there is established canon or at least some guidance as to what the characters are going to be dealing with when it comes down to the time where, they're going to be going up against the different villains and all of the above. I mean, this is actually a really big deal. So a game like Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, to me, that game seemed to miss out a lot because it was kind of an origin story and they wanted to give Miles his own unique villain structure. So they actually put a villain that is unique to Miles himself, even though Miles got a little bit of an orientation with, the Rhino, which is kind of an ode to the first Spider-Man game where he had to hide from him and escape from that little, shipping yard or whatever it is. But instead, in this new game, he's supposed to be this new Spider-Man that has gotten his power. So he actually confronts, Rhino. So I think that was actually a cool way to do it. But again, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and even the Gotham Knights, in terms of the Bat family, they kind of have a different relationship with kind of the main character. So Miles has a different relationship with Spider-Man, as well as, in that sense, the Gotham Knights have a different relationship with Batman. So ideally, what's going to happen and what we're going to see is the rogue gallery is going to be very much tied to Batman's rogues because already they showed us Mr. Freeze, they showed us the Court of Owls, who are actually a villain group that are antagonistic to Batman. They've also shown us a little bit of Anarchy. They showed us a little bit of the Penguin or whatever it is. And all these villains are basically classic Batman villains. So I think that right now we know that this game, even though Batman is so-called dead, there is an emphasis in terms of bringing his villain and rogue gallery to the game of Gotham Knights. So whatever villains they choose will be in a place where it either makes the game or breaks the game. And this is a very important thing. Now, there is a loose aspect of how they're actually moving along with the canon in terms of where they're getting their ideas to build this game. Patrick Redding, the creative director, said in a magazine article that the literature where this game is coming from is not just one piece of literature, but actually multiple different renditions of the Gotham Knights and Batman. So I guess that's also something that you have to consider because, you got to think about it. So who are the bad guys really going to be? Are they going to make it where the villains have some sort of a personal relationship, even though they may be Batman villains? But are they going to make it where they have some sort of a personal relationship with some of the knights themselves? Because there are some villains that, even though they are Batman's arch enemies, there are really weird relationship points where they are kind of a pain in, the rear of all of the different Gotham Knights. In fact, one of them is Joker. Depending on the storyline that you actually pull from, if you go for the Killing Joke storyline, then he is actually a pain in the butt to Barbara Gordon. If you go with the, Death in the Family or whatever it is those storylines are, then you can actually, say they are a pet peeve to Jason Todd. So, that's also something that has to be considered. So I think that villain choice, or the Rogue Gallery choice, really needs to highlight those things. And then in terms of Nightwing, you can think about maybe even some others like Harley Quinn. Maybe the Court of Owls will probably serve in that role, because somehow in the comics and in the literature, the Court of Owls supposedly has some sort of a relationship with Nightwing. So I guess that almost is an organic, thing. And then if you think about Robin, he is really young in this game, so probably has not necessarily, if they were to follow that timeline, been exposed to a lot of the villains. Maybe he has been. You never know. But nonetheless, I really would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, because this is a conversation that's kind of still ongoing because we haven't seen much. What villains do you think will suit this storyline that they're actually trying to create? So from what we've seen, you would have to say, okay, I think this villain can work here. Or even anti-hero. That's also another thing too. There's some, anti-heroes, or, not necessarily villains, but could be villains or could be helpful, characters that could help the Knights, just the way they've shown Penguin. Which of those do you think will kind of work for a story like this that they're creating? That's it for me. I'll go ahead and just leave that question hanging. In the comment section, you can, basically comment and you can respond to that. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk in another one. Peace out.